Hey guys, what's up? I'm going to be doing a 2020 NFL mock draft for the first round, so let's get right into it. As you may know, the Bengals have had the number one overall pick for a little over 3 months now, and it seems like the obvious choice will be Joe Burrow, quarterback out of LSU. Joe Burrow had one of the greatest college football seasons we have ever seen by a quarterback, posting over 5,600 yards passing, 60 touchdowns with only 6 interceptions. He will be going likely to the Bengals in the loaded AFC North, filled with quarterbacks with Big Ben, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, and will hope to get the Bengals back on their winning ways. With the second overall choice in the draft, the Ron Rivera-led Washington Redskins will be taking the best overall prospect, in my eyes, in the draft, edge rusher out of Ohio State, Chase Young. Chase Young is 6'5", 265 pounds, and received a 7.37 prospect grade from NFL.com, which was the highest out of any prospect. He led the Buckeyes with 15.5 tackles for loss in 2018 and will make a great addition to Ron Rivera's defense.
I'm Chase Young. You won't find a better pass rusher in college football.
I'm feeling blessed.
In trouble, and there he is. Chase.
Coming my way, but I ain't feeling.
The Detroit Lions own the third overall pick, and there's been some speculation that they might trade back out of this pick to regain some draft capital and fill some more of their holes. But in this mock draft, I believe they stay at number 3 and select cornerback out of Ohio State, Jeffrey Okudah. Jeff Okudah, along with Chase Young, played college football at Ohio State, and he stands 6'1", 205 pounds, and will be a great complement to Matt Patricia's defense. And with the Lions shipping off Darius Slay to the Eagles, cornerback is a spot needed for the Lions, so I would expect nothing less but the Lions to select cornerback Jeffrey Okudah. With the fourth overall pick, the New York Giants, I believe, can go in 3 places. They can either go with the best offensive tackle available, which I believe is Wirfs, Isaiah Simmons, the hybrid linebacker out of Clemson, or trade down to get some more draft capital. But I believe that they will be taking the hybrid linebacker out of Clemson, Isaiah Simmons. In his final season with Clemson, Simmons posted 104 total tackles, 7 sacks, 3 interceptions, and 1 forced fumble. He is, in my mind, the most versatile player in this draft. And he can play linebacker, he can play safety, he could, rush the passer, and I believe he will make a great addition to Joe Judge's defense on the Giants. With the 5th overall pick, the Miami Dolphins, a team very poised to take a quarterback in this year's draft, have been linked to Tua and Justin Herbert. But even despite Tua's injuries, the Dolphins select him here at the 5th overall pick. Tua suffered a season-ending dislocated hip in mid-November against Mississippi State, which has caused some NFL teams to believe he cannot be durable in the NFL. But with comparisons to Drew Brees, he is too gifted a passer and overall quarterback to drop out of my top 5. So he will be going to the Miami Dolphins with the 5th overall pick.
On the porch, my family's glasses to the stars. My grandma smiling down on me like, that boy got bars. Okay.
Oh, what a fake and touchdown, Alabama.
Let me testify to another morning.
With the 6th overall pick, the Los Angeles Chargers, who will be moving into their new stadium, SoFi Stadium, will not be picking a quarterback, but that's what everyone expects. Everyone expects them to pick quarterback Justin Herbert, but I have them going a different route. With Tyrod Taylor at the helm now, with Phillip Rivers leaving in free agency to the Colts, they will be selecting offensive tackle Mekhi Becton out of Louisville. With the Chargers trading left tackle Russell Okung to the Panthers in exchange for Trey Turner, they will be needing a left tackle spot, and I believe Becton will slot perfectly into Anthony Lynn's offensive line, be a good blindside blocker for Tyrod Taylor, and I believe he'll be a day 1 starter. He'll go right into the lineup.
Can you get out there quickly enough to be able to make a play?
With the 7th overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers, now led by Matt Rule, former coach of Baylor, will be selecting an interior lineman, Derek Brown, with the loss of Gerald McCoy. Derek Brown was the anchor of that Auburn defense, and his first step ability allows himself to get inside very quick and disrupt the run game. He will be able to rush the passer with efficiency. He is excellent in the run game, and I believe he'll have an instant impact on Matt Rule's defense in Carolina and post some good numbers in his rookie season.
Coordinator said Reggie White's the best D lineman I've coached. Derek Brown is number 2.
This is a kid up front.
With the 8th overall pick, the Arizona Cardinals were likely headed to be selecting a receiver in the first round until they struck a deal with Houston to get all-pro wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. So now that is likely not the first-round pick they will be selecting. I have them taking Tristan Wirfs, offensive tackle out of Iowa. Tristan Wirfs ran a 4.85 40-yard dash and bench pressed 24 reps at the NFL Combine and received a prospect grade from NFL.com of 6.48. The Cardinals, by selecting him here in the top 10, would hope they can protect their Rookie of the Year quarterback Kyler Murray for the next decade. With a loaded NFC West, it'll be interesting to see if the Cardinals can make a playoff spot this year. With the 9th overall selection, the Jacksonville Jaguars, now led by phenom quarterback Gardner Minshew, could go in a couple different directions here, but I think with the departure of Jalen Ramsey from the in-season trade they made with the Los Angeles Rams, I believe they go cornerback out of Florida, C.J. Henderson. C.J. Henderson's draft stock recently has increased, and some draft analysts believe that his cover skills are a little bit better than Jeff Okudah's, which is why I have him going here to Jacksonville at 9. And during his 3 years at the Florida Gators, he posted 65 solo tackles, 6 interceptions, 22 pass breakups, 4 sacks, and 7 tackles for loss in 34 games.
2nd and 10. They fake the hand up to Dallas, and they zip it along the sidelines. Incomplete. Amen. From the pocket, Williams stands in and delivers in traffic, and it's broken.
With the 10th overall pick, the Cleveland Browns will be selecting offensive tackle Andrew Thomas out of Georgia to help protect third-year quarterback Baker Mayfield. Thomas received a 6.49 out of 8 prospect grade from NFL.com and ran a 5.22 40-yard dash at the Combine, which in fact was slower than Tom Brady, so he's definitely not the fastest offensive tackle in this draft. He benched 21 reps, and I believe they'll slot him in right away at left tackle for the Browns, hopefully be their next Joe Thomas, and make sure Baker Mayfield doesn't get injured. With the 11th overall selection, the New York Jets, in my mind, can only go one direction, and that's at wide receiver. And with the top 3 still on the board, Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, and Henry Ruggs, I believe the Jets take Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver out of Alabama. Jeudy is an elite route runner, definitely the best in college football last year, with some very good speed, posting a 4.45 NFL Combine score. And some of his strengths are speed requires consistent respect from corners and safeties. He scored 24 touchdowns over his last 28 games at Alabama, and he's very experienced in pro-style route combinations. I believe with Sam Darnold, he will have an excellent rookie year, and I believe this will allow Le'Veon Bell to produce more, with more defenses thinking that the Jets will pass.
If she left with me, she the right hoe. Man, she riding me like a BMX. Man, she said the D is for Dino. I got 2 horns like a rhino.
With the 12th overall pick, the Las Vegas Raiders, led by Derek Carr, will be needing a new elite wide receiver that they can pair with him after Amari Cooper was traded in 2018. And I believe they take wide receiver CeeDee Lamb out of Oklahoma right here. Lamb ran a 4.5 at the NFL Combine, and he is an explosive player. He's a 3-level playmaker. His routes will need to become a little bit more efficient if he wants to beat man-to-man coverage in the NFL with all the size and speed. But his ball skills and explosiveness with the ball in his hand should allow teams to scheme him open. And I'm very interested to see what Gruden has in store for him. The San Francisco 49ers, the reigning Super Bowl losers, acquired the 13th overall pick from the Indianapolis Colts for defensive end DeForest Buckner. And with this 13th overall pick, I believe we will see the third consecutive wide receiver taken. And the fastest receiver in this class, wide receiver out of Alabama, Henry Ruggs III. Before the combine, some people believed that Henry Ruggs would break John Ross's record of a 40-yard dash, which is at 4.22. He did not end up breaking that. He ended up running a 4.28, but he still has some elite speed, kind of like Tyreek Hill. The 49ers will hope that he'll be kind of like their new Marquise Goodwin. And with Kyle Shanahan's play calling, I cannot imagine the amount of end-arounds and deep balls Ruggs will be receiving. He, in my mind, is a sleeper for Rookie of the Year in the 2020 NFL season.
Pass out to Ruggs, who's got plenty of daylight.
Nigerian hair, criteria compared to your career. This isn't fair. I'm a venereal disease, like a menstrual, bleed through the pencil.
With the 14th overall pick, the now Tom Brady-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I never thought I'd say that in my life, are looking to be the first team to ever host the Super Bowl in their home stadium, with Super Bowl 55 being in Tampa Bay. And I believe right here they're going to get a piece to protect Tom Brady for those 2 years he will be there, and they will select Jedrick Wills, offensive tackle out of Alabama. Wills is a little shorter than most offensive tackles, but he is big, wide, and extremely athletic, plays with loose hips and fluid, twitchy feet. He moves like a tight end in space. It's incredible to watch him, create run lanes and go up the field and get blocks. And with a quarterback now like Tom Brady, he's going to have to stand in there and protect him because Brady is not mobile. With the top 3 wide receivers being off the board in Lamb, Jeudy, and Ruggs, John Elway and the Denver Broncos with the 15th pick decided to go a different direction, and since Chris Harris Jr. left in free agency to the Los Angeles Chargers, right here at 15 they select cornerback out of LSU, Christian Fulton. With the draft this year being online due to the coronavirus, I believe it'll be very hard for teams to trade up and down in the draft, so that's why I don't see very many teams trading up and down in the first round. But I believe Denver will be kind of upset that they don't grab any of the top receivers, but they go with their second biggest need, which is corner, and that is why they grabbed Fulton here, and he will replace Chris Harris Jr. He had a great final year at LSU, winning the national championship, and it'll be interesting to see what he can do in his rookie season against guys like Mahomes, Tyrod Taylor, and Derek Carr. With the 16th overall pick, the Atlanta Falcons will be selecting K'Lavon Chaisson, edge rusher out of LSU. Chaisson has been very linked to the Atlanta Falcons if they stayed at the 16th overall pick, which it seems they are poised to do at this point. And he is a smart player on and off the field. He has a good lower body thickness for a longer frame. He's very quick laterally and up the field off the snap. And he's tremendously agile and flexible, and I think this will be a great pick for Atlanta at 16.
Big rush by Chaisson. He takes Hurts down back inside the 25. Good coverage downfield and a mismatch. Chaisson working on R.J. Proctor.
With the 17th overall pick, the Dallas Cowboys will be selecting Javon Kinlaw, interior defensive lineman out of South Carolina. Due to the losses of Robert Quinn, I feel like he'll be a great player to fill the slot for the Cowboys. Kinlaw is 6'5", 325 pounds, and that will give him the ability to rush the passer with efficiency, get past the offensive lineman, knock down passes from quarterbacks, and as you can see here in this last clip, knock down field goals.
Javon Kinlaw right in the middle gets the big hand up. Quarterback run, and he's got no...
With the 18th overall pick, the Miami Dolphins, their second pick of the first round, will be going defense this time and select Xavier McKinney, safety out of Alabama. McKinney, in my mind, is the best pure safety in this draft. He can tackle, he can rush the passer, he gets sacks. You can see right there, he disrupts plays, creates interceptions for the team, and I believe right here for Miami will be a great slot for him.
Yeah.
Xavier McKinney's putting on a show here, isn't he? Second down at 4.
With the 19th overall pick, the Las Vegas Raiders will select the second consecutive cornerback off the board, and that will be Jeff Gladney, cornerback out of TCU. Gladney is a tough, physical player who doesn't shy away from contact. He has good speed, not tremendous speed. He ran a 4.48 at the combine, but he was timed at 4.34 prior to the 2019 season. And he doesn't get beat very often. He only allowed 19 out of 78 passes of more than 20 yards downfield to be completed, which is somewhere around 20%. So Gladney will be a great pick for the Las Vegas Raiders and will hopefully make an impact early.
3 and out for the Golden Lions on offense.
Outside, Gladney right here on the outside, grabbing his jersey.
With the 20th overall pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars fill one of their holes here and select Kenneth Murray, linebacker out of Oklahoma. Murray ran a 4.52 at the NFL Combine, which is unbelievable speed at linebacker. He kind of moves like a safety in space. He rarely misses tackles. He is a efficient tackler, and he can spy and rush the passer on passing downs. So I think Jacksonville's a team that's gonna struggle a lot next year, but hopefully he can be one of their bright spots.
Sacked again! Kenneth Murray! 4th sack of the game for Oklahoma. 3rd down and 9 to the 22. Duffy, and he sacked Kenneth Murray.
With the 21st overall pick, the NFC East champion Philadelphia Eagles will be strengthening their wide receiver core and taking Justin Jefferson, wide receiver, out of the national champion LSU Tigers. The Eagles were decimated with injuries last year at wide receiver, with guys like Deshaun Jackson and Alshon Jeffrey going down, and didn't have a single receiver to top over 500 yards. So hopefully, with the Eagles adding Jefferson here, they give Wentz another target with now him, Zach Ertz, and now hopefully a healthy Deshaun Watson. And it'll be interesting to see what he and Wentz can do in their first season together.
Finds Jefferson again. Burrow fires, and it's caught by Justin Jefferson for the touchdown.
With the 22nd overall pick, the Minnesota Vikings, who acquired this pick from trading Stephon Diggs to the Buffalo Bills, will be drafting his replacement right here and be selecting Denzel Mims, wide receiver out of Baylor. Denzel Mims ran a 4.38 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine, and during his 4 years at Baylor, he collected 186 receptions, 2,925 yards, and 28 touchdowns, and having his best season yet in his senior year, posting over 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns. I believe he'll be a pretty good wide receiver too behind Adam Thielen and be a good target in his rookie year for Kirk Cousins.
Second down. Play action to the end zone, looking for Mims. Touchdown, Baylor!
With the 23rd overall pick, the New England Patriots, my favorite football team, will be taking, drumroll please, Justin Herbert, the quarterback of the future. They take him right here at 23 overall after Tom Brady leaving for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Patriots decide they do not want to move forward with Jarrett Stidham as Justin Herbert falls all the way down to 23, and they snag him right here. He will be their quarterback of the future. The Patriots are one of the teams reportedly in love with Justin Herbert, so I believe on draft day, if they see him fall all the way down to 23, they do not hesitate, and they take him there. During his senior season, Herbert threw for over 3,400 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions, so he has a good touchdown-interception ratio. It'll be interesting to see what Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels do with him during his rookie year. The Patriots recently just brought in Brian Hoyer, so if there are no OTAs or training camp, I believe they'll start Hoyer right away because he already knows the system. But once Herbert gets acclimated, I feel like he'll have a great career in New England and hopefully bring another championship.
You feel it's the last couple of seasons for Oregon on the bootleg and the tiny.
With the 24th overall pick, the New Orleans Saints will be adding to their defense by selecting Patrick Queen, linebacker out of LSU. Queen will be joining a linebacker group that includes Demario Davis and Kiko Alonso, and with Drew Brees coming back for another 2 years and signing Emmanuel Sanders, It looks like the Saints are going to be poised to make a Super Bowl run and trying to get Drew Brees his second Super Bowl trophy. And I believe Patrick Queen, even though he has a small sample size, he only played one season, he had some big stops in that national championship game, and I believe he'll be able to contribute early on for the Saints. With the 25th overall pick, the Minnesota Vikings, who had just previously picked Denzel Mims at 22, will be adding to their defense now, and after they released Xavier Rhodes, they will be adding A.J. Terrell, cornerback out of Clemson. Terrell has some good pros, running a 4.42 at the NFL Combine, and he has incredible transitioning ability. But the last time we saw him, he was getting absolutely cooked by Jamar Chase against LSU in the national championship game. He can get physically outmatched at the catch point because he's only 6'1", 195 pounds. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do against the NFC North.
Again, these are 18 to 22-year-old kids trying to get them to focus every single time they're on the field.
An interception thrown by Conley down the sideline.
The 26th overall selection and their third and final selection of the first round, the Dolphins will be going defense once again and be getting an edge rusher in the edge rusher from Penn State, Gross Matos. During his 3 years at Penn State, Gross Matos accumulated 111 total tackles, 47 tackles for loss, 18.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. Some of his pros are his prototypical size, athleticism, and agility, and he has a great upfield burst. And one of his cons is his hands need to be more quick and more aggressive to be an efficient pro. With the 27th overall pick, the Pete Carroll-led Seattle Seahawks will be dipping into the defensive side and be taking A.J. Epineza, edge rusher out of Iowa. In his final year at Iowa, Epineza recorded 49 total tackles, 14 tackles for loss, 11.5 sacks, and 4 forced fumbles. I believe he'll be a day one starter for Seattle and slot right into that defense.
Whatsoever. He's got an option off him. So he makes the option, made the right read.
With the 28th overall pick, the Baltimore Ravens, who have the reigning MVP Lamar Jackson, and it was just announced today that he will be on the cover of Madden NFL 21, so congratulations to him, will be going with a best player available situation, I believe, and take Grant Delpit, safety out of LSU, and pair him with that great secondary. Delpit has rare playmaking ability. He's a good size for an NFL safety. He moves extremely well across the field. He's not extremely explosive, but he just glides across the field, kind of like former LSU safety Jamal Adams. He can cover the slot and tight ends really efficiently, but one of his cons is that he misses way too many tackles. He missed over 25% of his potential tackles last year, so in order to be the best possible player, he needs to fix that. The Tennessee Titans hold the 29th overall pick, and I believe they could go in a couple different directions here. They could go with a backup running back in Swift or Dobbins after they just franchise tagged Derrick Henry. They could go with some offensive tackle depth and Josh Jones, but I believe right here they go on the defensive side and select Zach Bond, edge rusher from Wisconsin. Bond has been one of the biggest risers in recent mock drafts, and that is because he is one of the best first steps in the whole entire draft class. His coverage grade over the past 2 years has been over 80. He uses his hands extremely well to dip and rip to the edge to get back around to the quarterback, but he didn't record a single bull rush pressure last year, so he'll look to improve that.
And he's taken down immediately. Very nice open field tackle by Zach.
With the 30th overall selection, the Green Bay Packers, who are still led by their quarterback Aaron Rodgers, do a surprising move here. They go and take Jordan Love, quarterback out of Utah State, and I think they'll do a kind of like a Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers situation. Love will sit behind Rodgers for another 2 to 3 years, and once Rodgers retires, he will take over the Green Bay Packers. Love has special arm talent that can absolutely launch a ball downfield. He has good touch on his passes. His upside is absolutely insane. I feel like with a good system and coaching staff, he can put up Pro Bowl, maybe even All-Pro stats. He had the same amount of big-time throws last year as Joe Burrow at 28, but he threw a ton of interceptions last year with 17. He did not have a very good 2019. Some people thought that he should stay in college for another year, maybe even transfer so he could come in the 2021 draft and have, top 10 potential, but he will stay in the 2020 draft, and I have him going to the Packers at 30.
Jordan Love looking downfield. Nice touch. And it's Jordan Nathan.
The San Francisco 49ers hold the second to last pick in the first round, and this is their second selection here in the first round. And right here, I have them picking interior defensive lineman Ross Blacklock out of TSU.
$5 million that he
Are
made last
you
year.
on
Donate it
drugs?
to charity.
Are you
He
on
played
drugs?
right out.
Blacklock has good size and power to make all the plays on the field. His timing and placement of hands is exceptional. He does a great job at finding leverage points on blockers. And really, his only red flag is that he missed the whole 2018 season with an Achilles injury. With the last pick in the first round, the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, with that high-powered offense with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, McCole Hardman, boost that offense and select running back out of Georgia, DeAndre Swift, to finally end the first round. Swift ran a 4.48 at the NFL Combine and received a 6.78 prospect grade from NFL.com. In his final season with Georgia, he had 196 rush attempts for 1,218 yards, which averaged 6.8 per carry, and 7 touchdowns, and I think he'll make a great asset to the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs.
Eason did. Primary receiver. And in the hands of DeAndre Swift, bounces it outside. Look out! Swift at the 30. Pursuit at the 20. Face mask brings him down inside the 15. It'll be first and goal for Georgia. Inside the 10, this freshman from Philadelphia, DeAndre.
That concludes my 2020 first-round NFL mock draft. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you're new here, please like, comment, and subscribe for new sports videos, and I will see you in the next one.